I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I ever played the glitchy or hack games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. I started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic on Leash. I like how you get to experience the towns in it, until I noticed out of my physical vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox, as usual, and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I look at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that. Whom I hadn't heard from in 2 months. I know that because I recognized his handwriting. Though what was weird is how it looked. It looked badly written and sketchy, and somewhat difficult to read. As if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. That is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of the scene somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken Dix before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the Dix and you'll destroy him, but do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it, please. Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I don't think that the simple gaming decks would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, what I want about that. Anyway, I look at the decks, it looked like any ordinary computer CDR decks. Except it had a black marker on it, written Sonic.EXE. And it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it someone else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the written of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on the computer and put the disc to start the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome! Because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of the place was when I pressed start. There was a split second when I saw the title image turn into something much different. Something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened. The title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water has turned red, like blood. But the fastest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with 2 glowing red dots staring right at me, and the smile stretched right up in the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about the image when I saw it, though I figured that it was just a glitch and forget about it. After it was cut to black and stayed like about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save files selected from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 pop up, and I was like, WTF? What is this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something was off. The background was the dark cloudy sky and the black Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there was only 3 save files. The music was there in creepy covers of winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended, and same it has been in reverse. And the image for the save file was where you see a preview of the level, you're just on red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game? For crying out loud! That's when I realized that this wasn't a glitchy game. It was a hack game. Yeah, it definitely looked hack. It was really creepy. But as a small gamer, I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hack game and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off the creep out feeling, I picked File 1 and choose Tails. When I selected it, got started. The game froze for about 5 seconds when I heard a creepy pixelized laugh that sounded awful lot like the cafe guy from Final Fantasy before it cut to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, then it showed a typical level title feed, except the symbolic shapes were different shades of red, and the text only showed Hill Act 1. The screen faded and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though, it sounded like a peaceful medley in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had Tails start running like you would in any classic Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level 3 was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That's when I heard peaceful music starting to lower down in slow deep tones, very slowly as I keep going. I suddenly saw something and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shock and sudden look in his face that I never saw him have before. So I had to move along so he keep that worried look in his face and he kept moving. I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers and the music passed more dead animals. I was starting to see how they all dead. They looked like somebody killed in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hung by a tree, with what appeared the internals hanging out. A bunny had 4 of the limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes goggled out of his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre and apparently so dead Tails. After a few more seconds, there was no more animals and the music seemed to have stopped. I still keep Tails to continue. After a minute passed, after the music stopped, Tails was running up a hill and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why Sonic was there on the other side of the screen, with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile followed. Absolutely nothing that Sonic was responding to him. If non-acting was like if he was totally obvious of Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed it wasn't even moving I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make a move. So this had to be a cutscene. Suddenly I began to have a growing field of dead as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails wasn't in danger. Something bad was going to happen. I heard a thing static, growing louder as Tails was butt inches away from Sonic, and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That forbidding feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open, and they were black and those red glowing dots, just like the image, though it wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds. Then white text appeared forming the message saying, "Hello. Do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I taken a different level, with the level title now saying Hide and Seek. This time, I was in the Angel Island level from Sonic.EXE. It looked like everything was on fire. Tesla looked as though he was scared of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made phonetic gestures as if he wanted to get off the area he was in as fast as possible. It was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pushed down the arrow as hard as I could, and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of the creepy theme when you met Shadow at the arcade as Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing. I made Tails take through the desert forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he's trying to run from. Suddenly I heard a creepy laugh again, that awful cackly laugh. But after 10 seconds had passed, I helped Tails run through the forest, and I started to see flashes of Sonic popping whenever on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to a suspenseful, drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining up on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making look very familiar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic, and he had a black and red eyes again. Only this time, he had the most strange-looking grin on his face. He looked like though he was enjoying the tournament. He was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped another cutscene. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails lay there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather up and to watch when I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic. As a grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned. Only this time, it said, "You're too slow. Want to try again?" And then that god-awful laugh come with it. It was shock what had happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and an expiration of engage on his face, trying to ignore it. I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time, the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack, some kind of a sick, twisted joke, or anything really. But despite my fear, what happened next, I keep playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of the scrap brain zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the dark, reddish, cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Greg Douglas' theme right after you beat Porky in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid just like Tails did. Though it's not as much, more rather than you look a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall, just like Tails, and looked as he wasn't sure about going on. But I made him move anyway. He went down the straight path in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker red with static a couple of times, and then the metal laugh came again. Then after a few seconds of running, I noticed several broad lines of metal ground. I felt like a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nested, walking down to the blood-stained road, but he still keeping going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him, with those black and red eyes, and then the red static appeared again, and the static vanished, showing nothing but the black screen with text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already. What was going on? Either way, the red static came again, then it started back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, it was a high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1. Final boss was playing. Was this time the boss battle was this some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be pixel black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in the black pixel smoke before I could even let it hit. Then that terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again and then made a punch again. And Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and then it even felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing like a sick, twisted little mind game with me. And Knuckles, another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head sobbing. I felt his anger in me. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic launched at Knuckles and the screen went black and another distorted scratching noise that lasted 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with. So little time. Would you agree? What the hell? What is going on? I started to think that Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second firebox that had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur dark and reddish gray. His dead locks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He had a look of sadness on his face. I began that those are actual characters trapping those TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap, which I hadn't, cause then I began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in the pitch black darkness, though I was under the light giving off the lamp and hung above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They say stuff like, "Help us," and "Why do you give us to him?" And run away before he gets you two. And run away before he gets you too. The cries dried out as I heard her, and then I heard Sonic laugh. His laugh. It sounded like like the desert cafe laugh.
You are a little fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle. But you didn't last long.
I was scared to look around the source of the voice.
We'll be long until you join him and all my other friends.
I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out in the several directions.
You can't run, kid. You remember now, just like the others.
When he grabbed me, I saw his bleeding black and red-eyed green face. I woke up with a fright. After a couple hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I have to know. I have to figure out this what's happening. So I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Sonic.EXE. I still thought it was wacky playing as Sonic. But anyway, the level title appeared again, and this time it said, which I found really freaky. This time, I was in kind of a hallway, but anyway, it looked like it was in the classic Sonic games. There was pixel style. The floor was shiny and checkered. The walls were a dark grayish purple and animated candle lights, and a few dark blind lines here and there, and there was dark red curtain hanging above on the top of the screen. Every 12 seconds, or that way the sun sways very slowly. But whenever you were playing the game, you could barely see it to move. The music was very pleasant. The piano playing rather a sad yet peaceful sound. But I knew it better. This was that song that played in Hill Act 1. Only it wasn't in reverse. Sonic didn't look eerily nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face, as it was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when he was his surrounding. He turned his head to the left, then to the right, at least twice, and then shrugs at me. If he has no idea what was even going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what's going to happen, I had Sonic continue onward. He did usually running animation. You know, when you're beating him at the end of the classic Sonic game, and you chase him. As we continue going through the hallway, then I stopped a long flight of stairs, leading downward. Now I was nervous, even when Sonic seemed unsure himself, though I pressed onward. As I lead Sonic down the stairs, I noticed that the walls were getting darker and some reddish. The red torches were now eerie blue. Then we landed onto another hallway. The one was longer than the Lisa one, or at least it felt like it. Then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard the horrid cafe laugh again, and the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more red and the torches were black flame now. When Sonic landed into the third hallway, I noticed it looked really creeped out. Though he tried to hide it, I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Sonic popped right in front of Sonic, the same way he did Knuckles. Then the West Static and the West Static leaves for 15 seconds, and then it showed me the unpleasant image. The image showed of an image of Sonic sitting in the darkness, where you could see his face. While his head and his torso faded into black, he looked so real. You could actually see the lines in his blue fur. If you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face. Oh God. He had the most horrifying smile I had ever seen. And that's saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the game. His eyes all wide and black, and once again crying blood. And there were 2 small glowing red dots in those black eyes staring right at me. As if staring into my mind, his grin wide and demonic. It literally stretched the size of his face, like the treacherous cat, except Sonic had fangs. Very sharp fangs. Much like the Warhawk's teeth, except more various looking, somewhat yellowish in form of the look of it. He has stains of blood and small bits of flesh in his lips and his face as if he ate some animal. I stared at the gruesome image for a good 30 seconds. I never taken my eyes off of it. I feel like he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face. It just took 10 seconds for it to etch itself onto my brain for good. Then the screen flickered. When West Static again 3 times, and the 3rd time, I heard the cafe laugh, except this time it sounded like the story demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time, there was a text or it was messed up. But it's pretty much one of the most horrifying things to look at since I have this game. I am God. It was when I heard that image, when I read that image, while looking at Sonic, when it hit me, I realized right there and then, this Sonic was a monster. A poor evil Sonic, all-powerful nightmarish demon monster. And all of it just, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, and just his little toys. And the game was very in a gateway into chaotic nightmare world, and the very hell its victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I scream as Sonic launched at the screen, screeching loudly, his mouth wide open, and eventually revealing nothing but literally splitting abyss of pure darkness before the wind started to come again. This time much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled to grab my ears. As the wind started to stretch a good 7 seconds, then it stopped, showed nothing but a black screen. As I sat up staring at the black screen, one last text came up.
Ready for LTO time?
The cafe wow sounded more clear as if Sonic was right behind me. Playing again 3 times as I looked at text and chalk confusion. Now I got booted back into the main menu. This time for the first save file, it had TV image of Robotnik in the save. Told me to state as Tails and Knuckles. The black screen turned pale gray. His mustache dropped and his blackened. His glasses broke and blood coming from him. He had a mere dead-like expression in his face. I look at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried a bit. I pitied them for an angry they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by a horrid hedgehog, as always will be. Then the computer turned itself off. I couldn't turn back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what had just happened. Sonic is a very unbendable evil. He tortures people who plays the game. One wasted one when he gets bored when he drags you into the game. Later he drags you to hell, where he can't play with you always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper.
Try to keep this instant. Try to keep this instant for me.
I turned around with the voice coming from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling, with bloodstains under its eyes. The end.